Is anybody surprised about what just happened? No. No. And that's the way it's got to be around here. All right? I got 3 game balls. Give it up for Justin Herbert. Yeah. Game ball, Derwin James. Yeah. Keenan Allen. Yeah.
Hold up. We got one more. This one's for you.
Stay frosty and head over to ezmutt.com for the cheapest mutt coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking $100K for around $13. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Yo, what up, brothers? It's the Director. Chargers fans, it's officially Victory Monday! What a heck of a first game for the Chargers in week 1 of the 2021 regular season. Oh my God, I couldn't have asked for a more exciting game, for better results. Of course, the Chargers winning 20-16. You guys remember my pregame video, right? Do you guys remember my prediction for the score in that video? My final prediction for Washington football team versus the Los Angeles Chargers is going to be Chargers 20, Washington football team 16. Oh man, there's gonna be a lot of pressure in this upcoming game preview for Dallas. Still, man, kind of crazy. We got the score right. It was an awesome game versus the Washington football team. And dudes, there's so much to unpack in this game, so much that we learned about this team, the progress that they have made from last season. I remember reading a lot of people say, oh, Justin Herbert's gonna have a sophomore slump. Justin Herbert, 1 year kind of thing. Come on, man. Nah, dude, Justin Herbert is back. He put up a heck of a game, as well as a lot of other position groups for the Chargers. It was an awesome spectacle for Chargers fans, and it really did spell to a lot of awesome things that we should be seeing throughout the season this year. I would say first time in a long time, dudes. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic, but optimistic nonetheless. There's a lot of things that I think this game showed me that makes me excited about the weeks to come. So before we get into this video, guys, as a reminder, we've got a giveaway going on right now. Giving away a signed Antonio Gates jersey to one of my lucky subscribers. Again, these are like thank yous from me to you guys for being so awesome and supporting the channel. All you guys got to do to enter for this is hit up the link in the description. Follow the instructions there. Very, very simple to enter. Make sure you're subscribed. Only subs can win. But we're not done there. We've got this awesome signed LaDainian Tomlinson jersey to go to one of my crew members. Crew members, guys, shout out to you. You guys have been so awesome helping out. Keep the channel's lights on throughout the off season. All you got to do to answer for this one is be a member of my crew, and that is it. Good luck to everybody out there. We're going to be drawing the winners here, I think, in the next couple of weeks. And with that, let's get into this one. Before we do, hit us up with a like and sub if you guys do enjoy this Chargers content. For Victory Monday, the small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Also, leave a nice comment for good measure on the giveaways. With that being said, lights, camera, action. The Chargers at Washington football team post-game report. Let's dive right into things, guys, and take a look at some of the stats from last night's game. Oh my God, dudes. Justin Herbert over 300 yards. It seems that this is his number, right? Given whatever defense he's going up against, whatever circumstances, Justin Herbert seems to like the number 300. And once again, putting up 337 in this game with a touchdown and an interception. He's right on pace to pick up where he left off last season, averaging around 300 yards per game. Of course, the interception, definitely an ugly one, but Justin Herbert, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Chargers are on a 5-game winning streak if you go back to last season as well. Justin Herbert is in rhythm. Justin Herbert is in form, and Justin Herbert is going to be the guy that we likely lean on for this game. I will point out a couple of other stats before we start getting to the storylines of all of these different positions and players that we're going to highlight here. Heineke came into the game in relief of Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick, of course, getting injured early in the game. 122 yards for him and a touchdown. Heineke did get some rushing yards as well, 17-2. I think this is really where the Chargers did struggle a little bit. It came to the run defense. Antonio Gibson, 20 for 90 yards. Definitely a lot of running from Washington. This is exactly what I predicted in the game preview, and they did execute very, very well. On the other side, though, Austin Eckler with 15 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. We're going to talk about how that spells to how good this offensive line is playing in just a minute. With Larry Roundtree getting a couple as well. He looked pretty fantastic in this game, too. Now, the Chargers receivers, holy crap. Okay, 300 yards has to come from somewhere, right? Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jared Cook, who surprised some people in this game. Like we said, 56 yards on 5 receptions. That's pretty solid for a tight end. And then, of course, Jalen Guyton, KJ Hill made a couple of good plays. And then Josh Palmer. You guys remember me talking about this in the pregame, in the game preview? Like, Josh Palmer, I feel like, is going to have a role on this team a lot earlier than we think, right? We're just getting into the first game of the season. This team did not play in the preseason as far as the starters are concerned, so we're shaking off some rust. We're still figuring some stuff out, but I think Josh Palmer has a shot to climb the depth chart very quickly over the season as well. The Chargers only gave up 62 yards and 4 receptions to Terry McLaurin, a touchdown and 30 yards to Logan Thomas, and a couple of receptions to Gibson as well. So overall, a very solid game. And we'll get into the defensive stuff as we get into the narrative here in just a moment too. So speaking of which, let's get into the first. I'm going to start highlighting some of the things I loved from this game, starting with Justin Herbert. Herbert threw again for 338 yards, a touchdown and interception. Okay, Justin Herbert, sophomore slump, what? Okay, I couldn't stop, reading stuff over the offseason of people worried about Justin Herbert and his sophomore slump and he's not going to keep up. Nah, man. Justin Herbert, this was a statement game for Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is not a facade. Justin Herbert isn't a one-time deal, one-hit wonder. Justin Herbert's here to stay, and he proved it against one of the best defenses in the league, one of the best young defenses in the league. Pun intended with Chase Young on that line. But I do think we have to give credit where credit's due as well to this man right here, Joe Lombardi. Joe Lombardi called an excellent game offensively. Whichever way you slice it, he was prepared to play against the Washington football team. What did Washington have that we were all really worried about before the game started? Their defensive line is absolutely incredible, right? Their defensive line causes a lot of problems for everybody that they play historically and in recent memory. What he allowed Justin Herbert to do in this game was awesome. He designed a lot of plays that were very quick, very fast, short, quick passes. And honestly, it really helped Justin Herbert stay upright for most of the game. I think only 1 sack the entire time. That's pretty impressive going up against this particular team. So Joe Lombardi, great game called, on Sunday. We're all very impressed, and we're excited to see how he prepares for our future opponents in the weeks to come. Now, before we continue, I want to get a quick word in from one of our sponsors, Thrive Fantasy. Join me in a new way to play fantasy football with Thrive Fantasy, a daily fantasy sports and esports app for player props. Now, with Thrive, we are taking those countless hours of research and just tossing them aside. This is a simple way to play fantasy football that only focuses on the top athletes in the game. Download Thrive Fantasy in the App Store or Play Store or by visiting their website, and remember to use code KIWI to receive an instant first deposit match up to $100. Check out the link in the description where the promo code will automatically be applied. It's football season, baby. Be sure to check it out, guys. Now let's get back into this one. Let's talk a little bit about this offensive line, too. I think this is one that almost gets me the most excited from what I saw in this game, okay? This photo, just, a picture tells 1,000 words, right? It's so relevant to how and what we witnessed in that game on Sunday. Chase Young getting absolutely manhandled by Rashawn Slater, who Slater did not allow a single pressure the entire evening. How insane is that? Rashawn Slater was upright. Rashawn Slater was clean. Rashawn Slater was honestly more than advertised for. This man is putting up some ridiculous performances. He looks like a veteran out there, and the Chargers got themselves a solid left tackle to match up with Justin Herbert for the years to come. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Oh my God, we got a good one in this one, dudes. This defensive line that we're all worried about all week long really didn't do a lot versus our team because this offensive line looks so great. I also want to talk a little bit about the running room, too. Austin Eckler's not really the kind of guy that, you would expect to see a lot of goal line carries and stuff for. Nonetheless, they gave the ball to him quite a few times on Sunday, even maybe, with all the hamstring concerns and stuff like that. One of the biggest things I remember seeing was in that first touchdown scored by Austin Eckler. My God, dudes, the space and the room for him to run, very, very reminiscent of what I saw in Green Bay with the Packers, right? And I think it does spell out to the success that Aaron Jones saw with Corey Linsley. How many up-the-middle goal line touches did he see in his time in Green Bay, right? With when paired up with Corey Linsley. I think Corey Linsley is going to open up a lot of goal line opportunities for Austin Eckler and the rest of this running back group. And honestly, we really saw a lot of signs of improvement up front altogether. So Corey Linsley, Rashawn Slater, of course, Brian Bulaga we'll talk about in just a little bit as well. This whole offensive line looks drastically improved. Now let's talk a little bit about the wide receivers. The wide receivers, of course, led by Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. We'll talk a little bit about the slot position here in just a second, or wide receiver 3. Dudes, Keenan Allen, 100 yards, 9 catches, the third down machine. This is exactly what you want to see out of Keenan Allen. This is exactly what we're expecting to see out of Keenan Allen. Justin Herbert to Keenan Allen is still a connection and a chemistry that is growing, that's impressing, and honestly something that we can lean on for many years to come. I remember somebody saying in my comment section, can we stop calling it third and whatever, third and goal, third and 5, third and 4? Let's just start calling it third and Keenan, because Keenan's going to get it done. I think the Chargers, if I remember correctly, converted 14 out of 19 third downs on Sunday. That's pretty dang good, man. In a year last season, we might have seen a lot of running plays on first and second down, maybe a pass. Again, the game calling here, the offensive game plan here was absolutely incredible. We leaned a lot on Justin Herbert. We leaned a lot on Keenan Allen. This team understands what they have in Herbert and Allen and all the other offensive weapons on this team, and we leaned on them to win this game. Keenan Allen, I think one of the game ball recipients, definitely led to this win. I told you guys at the pregame show, this is going to be a game that we lean on these guys very heavily, and that's exactly what they did. And they delivered. Keenan Allen delivered. We also got to talk a little bit about Mike Williams. I know some maybe Chargers fans were a little bit worried about the drops that we saw. We'll talk about that in a second too. We did see a few drops by Mike Williams. But honestly, what Mike Williams delivers for this team, I think he's starting to earn his keep. I really do. As long as he can stay healthy, I think I've always felt this way. As long as Mike Williams stays healthy, he's earning his keep on this team. And I think he could be our featured red zone guy from here on out. You guys remember? I posted this on Twitter yesterday too. You guys remember this play from Varsity Blues? The oop. What kind of offense is that? It's the oop. You got a diamond formation up here at the top of the screen, and then the lone receiver down here at Mike Williams. I think a lot of us knew it was about to happen. Like, I think Mike Williams is getting the ball one-on-one. He's going to have, every opportunity to go up and make that play, and he does. And that play to me speaks to, like, what they're trying to do in the red zone. I think it's Mike Williams, and I think they're going to slowly start bringing in Jared Cook to get those red zone looks. So Mike Williams, bravo to you, man. He's looked really, really solid. As for the remainder of these wide receivers, we did see a lot of drops. We saw a couple, I think, by Jalen Guyton. We did see Josh Palmer go in there for like a couple of plays. I think he got one look and he picked up like 8 yards or something like that. He looked really, really solid. But we also got to remember, this is the first game of the season, right? And a lot of these guys haven't played because our starters did not play in the preseason. Of course, that doesn't, spell any excuse for Guyton, who did play a lot, and Palmer, who did play a lot, but he didn't get any drops. Still, there's a lot of chemistry that needs to be built, a lot of, football form that needs to be built in the first couple of weeks, and honestly, getting away with the win in the first week, very, very nice. We got to clean up some of those drops a little bit, but again, I'm not too concerned about it at this point. I think the Chargers have a solid group of wide receivers. All right, let's talk a little bit about the defense. Welcome back, Derwin James. Oh my God. Some people were saying like, oh my God, Derwin didn't make any plays on Sunday. Where was Derwin? The reason we didn't see a lot from Derwin is because they weren't passing in Derwin's direction very often. Despite that, Derwin still put up 7 tackles, a pass defended. He's officially back, dudes, and he looked absolutely fantastic. I remember hearing Chris Collinsworth talk a little bit about the star position when watching the Rams game on Sunday night. They talked a lot about Jalen Ramsey in this new star position where they kind of put this defensive back in everywhere all over the field to make sure that he's in the vicinity to make a play. And that's exactly what Brandon Staley did with the Los Angeles Rams and what he's doing with Derwin James now with the Los Angeles Chargers. Derwin James is back, and he's only going to get better as he continues to get back into football form, to get back into, live action football after missing the past couple of seasons. Derwin James is going to be a big part of this team moving forward. And to see him go out there and make a big impact for this team in week 1 versus a really good team makes me very excited to see what we're going to see in the future. All right. We also have to mention a little bit about Nasir Adderley. I wasn't able to find a picture from that game last night of Nasir Adderley, but he looked incredible, did he not? In some points, he looked like the best DB, I shouldn't say DB, but best corner on this team. He had 5 tackles, including 1 for a loss, and he helped in that fumble play, if you guys remember. I think he made first contact in that fumble play on Antonio Gibson before Kaiser White got in there and punched the ball out. Sante Samuel, Good as advertised. I think there was one play where I was like, maybe a little dicey. It was a 50-50 call penalty for pass interference on Asante Samuel. I didn't see enough to warrant that call. Nonetheless, it was called. Other than that, Asante Samuel had a great night, or great day yesterday. I keep forgetting it was, in the morning that day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Still a very, very good game. And again, I do want to highlight Kazir White, who's looked absolutely fantastic. We saw that he had a great camp. We saw that he was going to be good in the preseason. And now seeing him in live action football in week 1 of the regular season, he looked absolutely fantastic. Again, forcing the fumble. Really, that fumble turned the tide of that game. We're going up against a lot of bad, officiating, some, bad luck against the run, bad luck in the red zone. He gets in there, gives us the ball, in the red zone immediately, and that's where we capitalized on the oop-de-oop, the oop-de-oop play with Mike Williams. Great plays by Kazir White, man. Very, very impressed by him. Now, a couple of things to note, like I just said a second ago, the officiating. Some things you cannot control in football. And one thing, it's bad officiating, okay? We won despite one of the most horrific officiating games I have ever seen in my entire life. One of the worst calls I've ever seen, period. And you guys know the one I'm talking about. Justin Herbert in the third quarter, I think it was 3rd and goal, throws a pass to, I think, Mike Williams, and it gets tipped at the line by Montez Sweat. All of us were like, whatever. I think maybe it was even 2nd and goal because we had another shot at it, right? And upon, the refs call a fumble in that situation, when clearly all of us Chargers fans, the entire nation, saw his hand moving forward. Incomplete pass. One of the most obvious incomplete pass situations I've ever seen in my life. They take the play to review, and it stands. It holds up. Somebody in New York, I don't know what you're doing out there, Mr. Officiator in New York, but that was some BS. And that really lit the chat on fire, lit me on fire. I was super upset. Even after the fact, I was talking to some Washington fans, and they were like, even with the refs cheating, we couldn't win that game. They knew they got away with one right there. They knew that was a bad call. Everybody knows it was a bad call. That was horrible. But despite the terrible officiating, the Chargers still won. There was numerous 50-50 calls tilted against us. I think on 4th and 4, the Washington football team goes for it, hands it off to Antonio Gibson, and there's a blatant false start. Not to mention the bad PI call against Asante Samuel. Horrific officiating this game. The Chargers were able to overcome it, and they get away with the win. Nice overcoming adversity, Chargers. Never give up. Never surrender. Last couple of concerns for me, too. Nasir Adderley, there's a couple of things, a few minor things. I think we can clean them up over the season. Again, we didn't see a lot of Nass in the preseason at all, so maybe he's shaking off some of the rust. But Nasir Adderley did allow a huge play to Terry McLaurin. It went right through his hands, man. He was in the vicinity. He was ready to make a big play, and the ball sailed right through his hands. And honestly, he was trying to cradle it, right? He was trying to cradle that catch right there, and he had bad spacing on that one. He wasn't able to catch. He wasn't able to track the ball very well. Go straight through his arms. Big first down for Washington. Now, hopefully, he's able to clean this up over the course of the season. He has the potential to be a big playmaker for this defense, but in that instance, it definitely cost us. And I think it was also in combination with Mike Davis a little bit. Mike Davis did get burned pretty bad by Terry McLaurin, but I think this one's more on Nasir Adderley. I honestly saw a lot of good things from Mike Davis on Sunday. I think Mike Davis played a really good game, but Nasir Adderley, he needs to be ready for those moments. In that case, he was not. Another thing we got to talk a little bit about is Austin Eckler in the run game. Now, I'm pointing this out because I don't want Chargers fans to freak out. The run game wasn't great on Sunday, but you got to remember the kind of opponent that we're going up against, right? It's going to be different next week versus the Dallas Cowboys. We're going up against one of the best defensive lines in football. So, yeah, I think the game plan was to go out there and throw it a lot, which we did. We still threw in the run as much as we could, but I think the plan was to pass a lot, and I think it did work. I think the Chargers understood what was in front of them. They got a lot of short, quick passes out to avoid the pressure from this defense, and it worked. Honestly, I'm not too concerned about it, so that's why I bring it up. The last thing I'm concerned about a little bit is Brian Bulaga. We're seeing Storm Norton on the screen right now, who did come in relief of Brian Bulaga. And Storm Norton did okay, right? Minus that one play that resulted in the bad call, the bad fumble call into the end zone touchback. Brian Bulaga, though, being injured again, definitely concerning. This offensive line is finally starting to turn a corner. I remember being almost in tears in the first quarter. In that first drive where we just drove down there and scored with Austin Eckler, I was like, this offensive line is better than maybe I've ever seen as a Chargers fan. But in order for that to hold up, we need Brian Bulaga to stay healthy. Now, the last thing I heard, it's a minor injury. He's considered day to day, but I can't confirm that. So let me know in the comment section if you guys have heard anything a little bit more recent. Okay? So I think that's going to do it for me, guys. In the comment section, share some of your favorite moments from the Chargers versus Washington football team game on Sunday, and start leaving your predictions for what you think the score is going to be versus the Dallas Cowboys in our home opener this upcoming Sunday. It should be a lot of fun. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you liked what you saw here, hit us up with the like and stuff on your way out. We'll see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.